This meeting is called to order. This is the 1176th regular board meeting of the Library Trustees. We are in the Peninsula Center Library Community Room. It is October 16th, 2025. I'd like to call this meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Butler,
Here.
Trustee Easton,
Here.
Trustee Uno,
Here.
Trustee Wong.
Here.
Madam President, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Trustee Butler will lead us in the Pledge of the Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Can I have an adoption of the agenda for tonight?
I move we adopt the agenda.
I have a motion from Trustee Wong to adopt the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, President's remarks and board member comments. First, I'd like to say that on October 15th, which is tomorrow, all PVLD branches will be closed for Staff Development Day. And then I want to make note of the fact that last week, October 5th through 11th was Banned Books Week. So I just wanted to make an acknowledgement of that fact. And then also I'd like to acknowledge that this week is the 20th anniversary, or next week is the 20th anniversary of the United for Libraries Friends Week. And so we now have a foundation, but we would still like to recognize the fact that they are supportive of the library and all the work that is done here. Are there any other announcements?
I just want to say that I had the opportunity to attend Trustee Park's service. Many members of the community attended last week. Trustee Wong was also there. And it was a lovely, really touching service, and many members of his past life at Hughes, his work with the library here. Many spoke about how he was a kind and caring and committed individual. And he served our district here at the library with much innovation, dedication, and commitment. And I just want to say that it was a lovely tribute. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So next we are on to item number 6, which is communications and comments from the public concerning items that are not on the agenda. So does anyone have any comments or questions not on the agenda? Okay, great. All right, so next is our consent calendar, item number 7. So can I have a recommendation to approve the consent calendar?
I have one item to remove.
Okay.
Those are the minutes of the last meeting.
Okay. All right, so that item will be removed. Can I have a recommendation to approve the remainder of the consent calendar?
I move that we approve the remainder of the consent calendar, having removed the item Trustee Easton has pulled.
Okay. So the consent calendar, I have a motion to approve the consent calendar from Trustee Butler. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so item 8, consideration of items removed from the consent calendar. So we have approval of board library trustee meeting minutes for regular meeting held on September 18th.
Yes, I just want to make a note that, again, there's a reference to Trustee Park passing away on August 3rd. I believe that's September 3rd. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a note of that. Thank you.
All right, so do we need to approve that?
Approval of the minutes with correction.
Okay. So can I have a motion to approve that change to the minutes?
I move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the motion passes. All right. So now item number 9, upcoming Board of Library Trustees conferences and events. Director Addington?
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple of things. I did want to acknowledge, because it will happen before our next meeting, that all PVLD libraries will be closed for Veterans Day on November 11th. So if you plan on coming to the library, please pick another day. We will be closed. And I also just wanted to note that the library trustees have a tentatively planned training day on November 12th, Wednesday, November 12th at the Malaga Cove Library. We are still in the planning process of this, but as soon as we get more information, I'll make sure to share that with the trustees. At this point in time, these are all the updates, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. All right, so now up to the bulk of our meeting for tonight, which is item number 10, interviews with applicants for the unexpired position on the Board of Library Trustees. So we have before us the task of assigning or selecting a new board member on the basis of having an expired or unexpired position. So the position that you're applying for is one that will be from now through next December. And we thank you all for coming out tonight. So the process will be. But there was supposed to be a period for the public. Have we not gotten to that yet? Or did we somehow? No, we've not gotten to that yet. Yeah. So the process will be, you will initially have 30 seconds to present your, to introduce yourself to the board. Then we will follow with questions. During those questions, you will have 2 minutes to explain your question or explain your response to that question. We will have those questions being timed to make sure that we're being fair to everyone. So I believe that Ryan will be keeping time. And once he gives the time, I will to make sure that we are being fair on this. Each of the trustees will have a chance to ask the questions of the candidates. And I think that's it. Does anyone have any questions about that process?
May I ask, Madam President, when will you do the speaker cards?
We will do the speaker cards after they give their introductions.
Okay.
And as a clarification for the timekeeper, is it 2 minutes per question?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. So thank you for that question, Director Addington. So those responses will be given after your introduction. I have 2 cards for people who want to speak. Are there any other people who would like to speak who have not turned in cards? Okay.
We've got
wh-
Susie's.
what I also,
Just apologies for clarification. You do have a card already from Suzanne Zimmerman.
yes,
Yeah.
well, not Simmer, I have a Suzanne
Oh, I'm
Seymour,
sorry,
Susanna Durnell.
Yeah, Seymour.
Yeah.
Apologies. So we've already got your card, Susie.
Okay. What I also want to explain is that we have all read your statements prior to coming tonight. And there were a couple of statements from the public that were submitted, and those have been read as well. Okay. So are there any questions now? There were 9 people, but I counted 7.
One candidate dropped out, and we do have one that is supposed to be joining us via Zoom.
And I'm wondering, is
And-
that one, is that
And
one?
they
on?
are unfortunately not on. So
Okay. All right.
We'll see when or if they join us.
Okay.
And just as another point of clarification for the public speaking comments, there's a 3-minute time limit. Is that correct?
That is correct. Okay. So this is not something that we do often. So, that's explaining some of the, checking in. But are there any other questions? Okay. All right. So, let's start with your introduction. And for this first question, we'll start with Lisa Blank, and we'll just work down the aisle.
We need microphone.
Let's use it.
Apologies, just 1 minute. We're gonna get you a microphone.
Please. And if you could pass along as you're completing.
Exactly. Okay. Good evening. I'm Lisa Blank. All of you have my written information. I think it's more interesting for you to ask me questions than for me to tell you anything. And as a friend of mine likes to say, I can hardly write my name in less than 250 words. So in the same spirit, I cannot really tell you anything about myself in 30 seconds. Ask questions and I'm happy to answer them.
Nancy Bond.
Hi, my name is Nancy Bond, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself because I can do it in less than 250 words. I've had a long career, still there, maybe retiring, who knows, but maybe that's in the future, in a year or so. So I do have time to commit to this. I've worked in the aerospace business, started out as an engineer, went into business development and currently in contracts, which is a little bit of legal and a little bit of engineering. I love libraries. That's why I'm interested in doing this and giving back to the community. My children have always participated in all of the programs that you have here. I think you run a great library system, and I just like to be part of it. And I'm not glad of why there is an opening, but since there is an opening, I thought I'd throw my name in the ring.
Thank you.
Thank you. So hold on a second. I am going to ask for Nadia Chowdhury because we're going in order. So has she
Thank
come
you
on?
so much. She has not entered the Zoom room yet.
Okay, thank you. All right, Sanford Davidson.
Yeah, hi. My friends call me Sandy. I grew up in the Bronx. Kenny and I were on the previous state city council together for years. I have been on the library board previously. I have spent my life studying in libraries. I'm an eye surgeon, still in practice, but only half-time, which gives me time to, again, give back to the community. And I have a very, very, very deep feeling for libraries because I could never have become what I became without libraries. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, hold on. So I was going to announce you first. So Kenny Cow.
Thank you for having me here, all of us here tonight. Safety in numbers, there's so many of us. I appreciate this opportunity. My name is Kenny Coe, second generation Palos Verdes Estates resident, born and raised here. My mom would bring us here before I could even decide or speak. So tonight I come on my own, of my own volition. I love the library. It's just served me so well over the years. Came here all throughout high school. Could tell my parents that I was going to the library, no questions asked about who I was with or what I was going to do. It was perfect. And I'm a practicing lawyer now. I studied for the bar here. I studied for the LSAT, and then I later studied for the bar here. So I'm an attorney by trade. I just love the library. I served on the city council, as Sandy had indicated, for 4 years. For the preceding 6 years before that, I was also in service to the city of Palos Verdes Estates as a traffic safety committee member and also as a planning commissioner. Through the city council, I also served on other boards, including the sanitation district, the South Bay City Council of Governments, and the League of California Cities. Appreciate the words that board member or trustee Easton said about Bob Park. I didn't have the pleasure of knowing him personally, but I have a lot of respect for all public servants. So my condolences to him or to all of us. Right? So,
Thank
you.
Holly Vanderdonk.
Hi, my name is Holly Vanderdonk. I also love the library. I think that's why we're all here. But I am an attorney and I've retired except for my advocacy work for special children, which I do maybe about 20 hours a week. I also was a human resource manager at my last company, so well versed in employment matters. And so now I'm a writer and I spend a lot of time at the library. My children, my first friends I made in PV were here at the library, bringing my children here. And I'm very happy to be here tonight. So thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And Beth Wittenbury.
Hi, I'm Beth Wittenbury, and I'm very happy to be here tonight. It seems this is my second time going through this process, and it seems there's something about when I apply, we have a lot of applicants. But we're all extremely well qualified, and I know your decision will be very difficult tonight. I've been living in the peninsula for 24 years. I like to describe myself as an attorney by training, but a mother in practice. What I mean by that is that I know how to do all the work of an attorney, which I know will come in handy on the Board of Trustees, but I balance that with the empathy, the listening skills, the compassion that I think public servants need and really want to be able to reach out and let our constituents feel heard.
Okay, thank you. And Hal Yee.
Hi, I'm Hal. As everybody else here does, I love libraries. They've been a very important institution in my life. As you've seen in the materials I submitted, I am a lifelong public servant, having worked and retired as a distinguished professor in the University of California. I spent the last 13 years working for LA County as the Chief Deputy Director and Chief Medical Officer of the hospitals and the clinics of the county. So as you can see, I have many of the experiences, skills, and achievements that would be relevant to PVLD as a trustee. I retired last year, and as a 14-year resident of PVE who raised my kids who graduated from PV High, I would love to be able to contribute to the local community. I don't want to get bored, and having spent my whole life in public service, I'd like to continue to contribute. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so let's try one more time with Nadia Chowdhury.
And not available.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so next we're going to go to the public comments. And again, I have 2 cards. If anyone else wants to turn in a card, please do so. So first, I have Susanna Durnell in support of candidate Holly Vanderdonk. And you have 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Suzanne Durnell. I've had the privilege of knowing Holly Vanderdonk for more than 20 years. We not only served on education boards and committees, competitive sports teams, co-chairs for Special Children's League, National Charity League, and fellow book club members and colleagues at My St. My Hero. Close to my heart, and most importantly, in everyday life, we have raised our children together, shared countless carpools, and even taken family vacations side by side. Holly has a common thread that rings true in any of these settings, whether a professional work environment, community philanthropy fundraisers, competitive sports, and finally parenting young children, then adult children. And through it all, Holly radiates confidence and exudes grace. She is calm, capable, knowledgeable, and never loses sight of the bigger picture or the importance of the people involved. Over time, she has become more than a friend. She's someone I deeply admire and respect as a human. Professionally, a colleague at My St. My Hero, I was sales director, and Holly had the enormous job of human resource director, who was not only responsible for recruitment and hiring, employee relations, adhering to labor laws, health and safety standards, anti-discrimination policies, as well as maintaining employee records, promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace. Holly was versed and knowledgeable. She provided a strategy for the company's growth. Again, the common thread I observed was she worked with grace, lots of knowledge, calm, and respect for all. Her commitment to community, most recently, we've co-chaired the vendors committee for our Special Children's League fundraiser for 2 consecutive years, an effort that required significant coordination, communication, and persistence between the 2 of us, other board members, as well as the 16 companies that we brought in to our event. Through it all, Holly was again hardworking, calm, a partner who never lost sight of our bigger picture or the people involved. And finally, personally, for years, I've experienced Holly as my friend that is an avid reader and writer. She has always continued to be a huge advocate and user of the library. With Holly's skills, character, and voice at the table, I feel she is the best candidate to support the library's director and naturally a strong advocate within our community to keep our libraries evolving and growing with the continued thread of competence, grace, and respect for all involved. Thanks.
Okay, next we have Suzanne Seymour in support of candidate Beth Wittenberry.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is Suzanne Seymour. Thank you for providing the opportunity to speak on behalf of the amazing array of candidates you have. You have a very difficult job ahead of you. I am very impressed after reading everyone's answers and biography. So I am speaking on behalf of prospective trustee Beth Wittenberry, and she makes an excellent choice to serve as your next library trustee as a member of our community. So as an elected official, one of her official positions will be to represent the community. And she's lived here for 24 years and been extremely involved in all aspects of our town. I've lived here for 32 years and have run in circles with Beth lots of times. She has been intimately involved in all of her K-12 schools, was the PTA president at Point Vicente, was on PV council, was the pretty much every position in PTA you could ever imagine. She was part of that and was also part of the PV assembly. She's also been on the board of Toberman Neighborhood Center, the Chamber of Commerce Board of Education, the Chamber of Commerce Executive Board. And as a volunteer, she just continues to always give back. The other part of your position as a board member in policy development and in implementation, she has had an amazing career in the last 6 years as part of the American Bar Association's House of Delegate. So she knows the working background in Robert's Rules of Orders and how to run a meeting. She knows how to get people to work together, to bring different viewpoints together, and to actually reach consensus. And that's a huge skill set that not everyone has. I think if you can get a bunch of lawyers together to all agree on anything, that's pretty good. So she's got a lot of experience doing that. The other area of policy implementation, super critical. And here we know that the board creates a policy and also has to make sure it gets implemented in a way that is meaningful. And her experience with the ABA has a long thread of doing that for many years. She speaks to lots of audiences, large and small, is a professor part-time. All of those skill sets, hugely important in this role. The other area that I thought was really important was the members, the board members' role as a fiduciary of the PVLD and oversight of your contracts and budget. And this is an area, again, that Beth will excel. She is a lawyer, understands contract law, understands how to read contracts, how to write contracts, and will study and read every document that comes before you at every meeting. It's a guarantee. And I say that tongue in cheek because I've served on boards where not everyone actually reads the material in advance. Oh, I'm already done. Okay, well, you have a very hard choice. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any additional comments?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So we will start with the questions. And the first question will go to,
We'll go to.
no, just hold on a second.
Oh, okay.
So the first question will be asked by Trustee Quan Easton. And I will pull the respondent from my bag. So everyone's name is in here. Nadia.
Let me check really quick.
I think she's given up her role at the top.
Still not with us.
Okay. All right, so. Kenneth Cow. Okay, Rosa?
Yes, okay. Well, thank you all for coming tonight. It's really amazing to see the support in the community for our library and that you all care so much to be here tonight. So thank you. And I have a question that I think is will enlighten us and learn a little bit more about you, which is why do you want to serve as a trustee of the PV Library District?
Yeah. Okay. So I think this is probably the $20 million question, if you will. Why do you want to serve? The library is such an amazing institution. I think it really holds a special place in so many people's hearts. I mean, everybody has their schools that they go to. They go to the hospital when they need to, but the library is kind of in a league of its own in many respects. I think each one of us could have anecdote upon anecdote to tell about what the library means to them. So for me, it absolutely holds that special place. Like I mentioned in my intro, I was coming here before I even could say I didn't want to because my mom would just drop my brother and me off. And she would just leave us here and we would just play whatever, hide and go seek in the stacks. And it wasn't until high school that I really started understanding the resources of this place and started taking advantage of it. And this was, I think it was in the mid-90s that they actually did a remodel of this place, right? And so, you know, serving as a trustee just would mean continuing the excellent reputation that I think this institution already has. Of course, every institution has its challenges, but I think the library is already this library is especially at a very good starting place. The challenges that lie before it, I think, isn't in another question, so I'll address those at the time. But I'm just a public servant at heart. As I mentioned, I served the city of Palos Verdes Estates for 10 years, and through that, other organizations as well. I'm just a lifelong reader and learner, and the library, to me, it has so many different facets. Like with respect to our history, I think it's like a safekeeper or a guardian of our past as a society. As far as the present, it's almost like a mirror or a reflection. And oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The future is like a window. So I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay. And so I forgot to remind people that 2 minutes, and once that sound goes off, you're going to hear this, and that's the end of your time. Sorry. Could you please pass the mic to Holly Vanderdonk?
Thank you. Should I start?
Yes.
Okay.
I will start after you begin.
As a longtime and regular library user, I've seen firsthand the vital role that the library plays in our community as a hub for learning, connection, and support. My personal experience using the libraries has given me a deep appreciation for the staff, the programs, and the resources that make our libraries so valuable. That's a big part of what motivates me to serve as trustee, to give back to this institution that has given me so much and gives so much to our community as a whole, and also to ensure that it continues to be an inclusive space that supports lifelong learning, artistic expression, and civic engagement. I'm a frequent visitor and supporter of the library's programs and resources. I spend an average of 3 days a week researching and writing in the library. In September and October, my involvement as a library patron included attending the following programs: an author event, the Peninsula Library Friends Foundation recognition event, the Feather, Fins, and Fur art exhibition, a PV Writes Together event, coffee with Library Board President Zoe Uno, visiting the local history center and the teen annex, and donating books to the library. Additionally, from January 5th to September 16th of this year, I checked out 28 library books. I had to look that up this morning from BBLD. My hands-on experience with the library's collections, staff, and services has given me insight into the strength of our library and its ability to enrich our community and provide support to people of all ages and backgrounds. I'm passionate about helping the library continue on its present course to be a welcoming, innovative, and inclusive space which meets the evolving needs of patrons. And I believe my active involvement, my background in law and human resources, and my extensive board and community experience would allow me to make meaningful contributions to the board and represent the community's interests thoughtfully and effectively. Thank you.
Thank you. Beth Wittenmeyer. Sorry.
Wittenbury. There you go. So as you can imagine, I have given this a lot of thought. And as I was doing that, I was reminded that when I was a little girl, my mother asked me what I thought my purpose was in life. And I responded to her at that time saying, and it's still true, that I think my purpose is to make others' lives better. And I see the library as a way of magnifying that purpose. I feel that this is the center of the community. People can come here and they can get all kinds of resources on all kinds of topics from all the different viewpoints that can be presented. It's free to the public. In a climate where our tuition costs are rising dramatically and have been for years, I think it's so essential that we have a free place for people to come to get information, to better themselves, to learn more, to come together around common interests, and even have a social outlet. I was just in the library before the meeting, and every seat was taken. I couldn't even find a private place to sit down and center myself before the meeting. So for these reasons, I really do want to do this. I want to do this now. I have been wanting to do this for quite a while. Ever since a former trustee of yours, Debbie Stigura, brought this position to my attention. She could not be here tonight. She is out of town. But she encouraged me to do this at that time, and ever since then, I have really felt the call to do it. I said in my statement, my first job was working in the library, reshelving all the books that were returned. That's the job I had in high school. I still have friends from that time. We get together once a year as a reunion. This, to me, is the center of the community, and I would be very honored to be able to serve as trustee.
Thank you. Hao Yi?
Having recently retired as a lifelong public servant, I would really, really love to continue in that vein, serving the local community that I live in. The world is changing faster now than it ever has. It's changing exponentially. And it's made libraries more important than they've ever been. It's clear from the mission of this library that the goal is to provide services and content to the residents. And I think it's important for libraries to continue to do so, to give our residents, our kids, and adults the skills necessary to thrive in this world. I think that, as you've seen from my resume, I have the skill set, the achievements, the understanding of how to help the library staff and the community to continue to have the library evolve so it can continue to help our residents as we move through this challenging world.
Thank you. And now we will go to Lisa Blank.
Thank you. You've all got the written statements. This is basically a repeat question. And the answer is, I was curious. I'm curious as how the library runs itself, curious as to how the policies are made, how the money is spent. My dad was a CPA, and when I moved into a condo association for the first time, he kind of plucked at my sleeve and he said, the first chance you get to serve on the board, you do it. Because that's how you find out how the money is being spent and what's really being done. And so that really is my interest. We're all interested in the library. Public service is a nice thing to talk about, but this is a big institution. It's got a big budget. It's got a widespread group of people that are relying on its services. I noticed that there were quite a number of library card holders who are not residents of the district, the library district, that is. And so I'm basically curious as to how the institution is running itself and how to make that better. I'm a nuts and bolts kind of person.
Thank you. Nancy Baum.
Hi, I'm interested in doing this because I'm very fond of libraries. One of my first jobs at college to help me put myself through school was working at a library. So it's kind of has some deep roots in me. I've supported the PV Friends of the Library for many years. I think it's important also because of all the social media and all the things that kids can get to without even setting foot in a library. And I think the library itself is really important. So I think it's important for the library to become relevant or to stay relevant and to keep current. So I know that there's a lot of things that are added that you can download, different apps and things that are available through the library. I think that's important, but we just have to keep, ahead of what the times are and make sure that we keep the young kids coming through here because it is a great asset and I'd hate for that to be lost. I also think I just love the Malaga Cove Library that's close to where I live, and I can just see a lot of opportunity for fundraising by using that facility. I'd like the opportunity to be able to share some of those ideas with the board. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sanford Davison.
Yeah, hi. I think anyone sitting at this table would do quite well on the library board. I'm in a little bit of a different place. I have also always loved libraries, but I will come to the library board already running. This is an unusual situation. It's it's a year. I've sat where you are sitting. I know how it works. And I think with my past experience, both here at the library board, at the city council, other places, I think I have a great deal to add. And one thing I really, really feel strongly about is congeniality. I want everyone to be friends. You know, we never get these days back. And I feel very, very strongly about that philosophical idea. So if I'm going to be sitting here, I want to achieve something because my whole life has been based on achieving something. And I really want this library board to continue achieving. And I'm just proud to be here, and I want to thank you for inviting me.
Okay, thank you. All right. So the next question will be with Kingston Wong. Yes. And yes,
Excuse me, Madam President, I'm getting an email from Nadia Chaudhry that she has bad reception. She's trying to log in. Is it not too late? She would love to join. I'm not sure how to respond.
It's up to you guys.
it's up to
She submitted her paperwork if it was a reception issue to begin with. I think that she should be considered.
So is she in? Because, if she's not in, then
Right.
it's a moot question.
Right.
So Executive Assistant Bender, if she does communicate that she's entered the room, let us know what
She
her
just says,
name
I'm
is.
trying to log in. I'm so sorry for the delay. My reception is very bad. If it's not too late, I would love to join.
We do have,
She's responding to the email I sent with the link to join, so I
Okay.
believe she has the link.
I do see some guests popping in and out, but none of them are named Nadia or have the screen name of Nadia. So if she has a different screen name, she would need to let us know that.
So we're going to proceed with this next question, and if she can come in before it ends, then she is welcome to continue through the process. But Trustee Wong, question number 2, and you'll be starting with Sanford Davison.
Okay. Interestingly enough, I am in my 4th term as a trustee. And when I first came in, I had my notion of what the role of a trustee was. I was right by about 50%. So my question is, what do you understand the role of a trustee is for the Palos Verdes Unified, Palos Verdes Library District?
And
Well,
just a quick note, because it is in relation to library staff and the public. So, keep that in mind when you're answering the question.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying. Yeah, I think that the trustees and library staff have to work very, very, very closely together. I don't see the board as being a boss. I'm sorry, I have a New York accent. But I think we're all equals. I think that the staff has to realize that the board is different from them in that they make different decisions on a day-to-day basis as staff, and the board makes decisions at board meetings. But I don't see any conflicts. I don't see any boss-servant relationship. I would love to be friends with everyone working at the library, but it's like raising your children. You can't be their friend. It's impossible. You have to be their parent. And not all parents realize that, and they get into trouble doing that. So I think that being a parent on the board towards the staff is the best way to proceed. and I think it would work out the best. Thank you.
Thank you. So can you go back to Nancy Bond? We're going to go this way now.
Tricking us, huh? Okay, I see the responsibilities are leading and governing by developing long-term goals and maintaining adherence to short-term goals, helping to create and ensure follow policies that guide the library's operation and update policies if necessary, prepare and oversee annual budgets and annual reports, review these financial reports, and actively participate in fundraising, promote the library to the community, attend and participate in all board meetings and serve on committees, and focus on strategic planning for the future to keep it going and to keep it used by all the people of the community.
Thank you. Lisa Blank.
Okay. I think in relationship to the public, it's a more obvious position. The board is public facing and they are elected. And so I think that that gives the public a sense that they have some, not control, but some input into how the library is organized and run and what the basic policies are. I don't know that that's necessarily true, but I think that that's what the public perception is. And the board faces the public and provides a not an interface with the library, but a face for the library. In terms of the staff, I think that there's probably relatively little actual interaction between the board and the actual staff. You have interaction with Jennifer, with Ryan, with the tech people here, but my guess is that most of you do not on a daily basis or a monthly basis or a quarterly basis have any actual input with day-to-day staffing issues. You don't hire, you don't fire, you approve. A lot of what you see in the minutes are that you received and you filed, but not a lot of discussion going on because that is for the library professionals. It's not for the board. The board is looking over at the broad spectrum of what does the library do? Does it serve the community? So I don't see the board as having a whole lot of interaction with the actual staff, but I do see them as representing the library as an institution to the public.
Thank you. And now it's going to go all the way over to Sam. I mean, Hal Yee, sorry.
So I'll preface my statement by saying that I, for over a decade, was on the other side of the table, Jennifer's side of the table, with the County Board of Supervisors being my trustees. So I deeply know the position. The reason trustee has the word trust in it is because the trustees are the stewards of the public, and the public is really represented by the resources provided by the taxpayers and the volunteers. They provide the treasure and the talent that are the resources then that the library has to use. And so I think trustees have dual roles, both of learning what the priorities are that the public through taxpayers and volunteers provide, and then serving as facilitators and overseers of the staff through the director so that those priorities can be carried out on behalf of the public. I think it's a dynamic role that one has to pay attention to all the different stakeholders.
Thank you.
I want to thank you, Kingston, for being so honest about how you felt when you started. So I understand that the trustees do not run the day-to-day operations of the library, nor do they directly oversee the staff. We have a very competent district director, Jennifer Addison, who does those things. However, we do oversee Jennifer in the sense that we would do her performance evaluations as well as set her salary. With respect to the public, I think people have said it before, we would be public servants. We are the face of the library to the public. We interact with the public. I hope that we all listen very strongly to the public because we are representing them. We would be their representatives on the library. In terms of setting policy, implementing policy, making sure the public funds are used correctly, that we are being fiscally responsible in those use of funds because they are public funds, and of course, in approving all major contracts. So I will just add, because it hasn't beeped at me yet, that Suzanne did allude to the fact that when I work with the ABA and the House of Delegates, which is made up of over 300 lawyers from all 50 states and US territories, one of the things I do is develop policy and then move that as a policy resolution and try to get consensus and to get those things passed. And I have been very successful in that. When I was chair of a section of the ABA, I also started a policy implementation committee because I realized it's not enough to just have the policy, you have to actually implement the policy. I, of course, do understand contracts. I can read them, I can write them, I can understand them, and I have had financial oversight of seven-figure budgets before. So I do feel that I am very well positioned to do the job of the trustees. Thank you.
So the two-part question here, the role of trustee in relation to the library staff. The trustees ensure the library has clear policies, strategic plans, and financial oversight. And that gives the library director a solid structure for her to lead. The trustees oversee, but they do not manage staff. Only the library director reports to the board. The trustee sets the mission, the vision, and the policy, approves the budgets, evaluates the director's performance, but they don't get involved with the daily operations, staff discipline, or internal personnel decisions. However, the trustees do support the director's leadership, and they do this by performing regular and fair performance evaluations of the director, keeping the director aligned with the library goals, providing moral and professional support to the director if there's any issues as far as public concerns or other difficult decisions that need to be made. And they are the ambassadors and the advocates for the library. The second part of the question, the role of a trustee in relation to the public, as I see it, the trustee's role is to listen, represent, advocate, and ensure accountability, keeping the library aligned with the community that it serves. And our library has always done a fantastic job in both these regards. I think it's important that the trustee listens to the needs of the community and the residents that they serve, and also advocate strongly for the library services, programs, and build community support for the library. So thank you.
Thanks for the question. The problem with going last is that everything you wanted to say has pretty much already been said. So that's unfortunate for me for this question, but it's very simple. In my mind, there are three main responsibilities of the trustee, in no particular order: passing the budget, approving, reviewing, passing the budget, and this happens on a cycle every year, as you all know. Secondly, appointing the district director and oversight of the district director, and if he or she is not doing a good job, then replacing the district director. But I understand that's not the case here. And lastly, we are, not we, but you, the board is a policy decision-making body. So you are policymakers, and this is analogous to the city manager form of the council manager form of government. The district director is responsible for day-to-day operations, just like the city manager is responsible for day-to-day operations of the city. It's analogous to the school board, as previous board member Seymour knows, right? You hire a superintendent. You have the school board, you have a superintendent to do the operations. So all of the different public entities anywhere follow this form. So the Board of Trustees is a policy making entity, policy deciding entity. Now, I think a lot of times what is policy and what is operations can actually become a little bit muddled. That it's not always a clear-cut question. And so those are the types of issues that I think need to be dealt with. A couple other things that were mentioned. Fundraising, my understanding is that is the sole responsibility of the Friends, that the board of trustees does not do that at all. And that counts for 5 to 6% of the budget. Forward-facing, yes, the board of trustees are the public figures. They're the elected individuals. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So our next question is going to be Trustee Butler. And our candidate is Beth Wittenberry.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I'll echo my board colleagues' previous comments. We're very grateful for all of your interest and especially your presence here with us this evening. This question is a hypothetical scenario. So imagine you're a trustee and a member of the public approaches you complaining about a particular piece of art that's on display at one of the branches. And that member of the public is demanding that particular piece of art be removed. We'd like to hear how you would handle and respond to that sort of complaint and demand from the public.
Thank you. The first thing I would do is to listen very carefully to their concerns and to even inquire a little bit more into what is causing them to have this reaction. Because I think it's very important in our divisive society to make sure everyone feels heard and appreciated and understood. And with my mediation training, I would definitely bring that to bear in this situation because I know how to listen without agreeing, but to make people feel heard and validated in their concerns. And so I would use those tools. And at the end of the day, I would explain that we have library policy on this and everything hanging here, I would assume, would be according to library policy. I have actual experience with this kind of thing because in my law practice for many years, I did sexual harassment training for organizations and individuals. And I can tell you that back in the day when I first started, we had many hostile audiences to those messages. And I recall in one particular situation on a break, a gentleman coming up to me who was quite tall, quite broad-shouldered. He got very close in my face and with a very loud voice conveyed to me exactly what he thought about the message that I was sending during the training. And to put it politely, he thought it was bunk. And I knew that I just needed to let him talk to me and to express his views. And so that is what I did. And I did as I described before. I said, so what you're telling me is you feel this way. Yes, and that allowed him to get what he needed to say out there. And when he was done, I said, I'm very glad that you came and told me how you were feeling. Your feelings are very important. I'm glad you've had a chance to express that. But we are here to talk about the policies of the company. I know you want to be a good employee. I know you want to be able to act in accordance with those policies and the law, and that's all we're discussing today.
What would I do? I think I'd have two things that I'd want to do. The first thing would be to understand what the policy and process is for somebody who had such a complaint, and make sure that the individual complaining to me understood what that process was, what the policy was. The second thing I would do would be to listen and try to understand what the concerns were, not to make any decisions myself, but then to, as a second track, bring that back to the director and the board, if appropriate, for further discussion to ensure that there's compliance with policy and processes. So I think those are the two things. You have to listen to the person because the person's coming to you thinking that you're a trustee and can do something. So you definitely have to listen, understand. But I think it's equally important for both legal compliance, other reasons, to make sure the individual knows what the process actually is.
Thank you. Yeah, all the way down. Oh, gee. Thank you.
So I'm going to take a wild ass guess that we actually do have a written policy about collections development and art. Yes, no? Yes. Good. And I'm going to take another wild ass guess that we actually do have a written process that says what you are supposed to do if you have a problem with an item in the collection. So at that point, you want to be extremely careful. We have a litigious society. Everybody's got a cell phone and they're actively recording. And if they're not recording, somebody who's watching you is recording. And so I do not suggest that you engage with this person. You say, I'm very sorry that you feel that way. And if you would like to go up to the probably reference librarian, there is a written policy statement that they would be happy to provide you with. There is a written process for you to file your complaint, and they'll be happy to give that to you. And then you politely say, and thank you very much for your concern, and you walk away. You do not engage because you do not want to go down that rabbit hole, and you do not want to be recorded, and you do not want this to end up on somebody's Instagram feed.
Thank you. I would listen to the concern that the patron had, just to get an idea of what the concern was. I would ask them to put it into writing, because I might not translate it the same way they did. I'd also take it under advisement, and I would tell them that I would check the policy that was written within the library. And also, I would check in parallel if there was any other concerns before it was put in the exhibit, if anybody else on the board or in the library that was in the chain of command had any kind of concern about putting it up in as an exhibit. But if you listen to the person, at least they felt like they were heard. If they put it in writing, and then I could submit it as a concern, and then we would take it under advisement and get back to them. That was the process I would do.
Thanks. I think everything's pretty much been said, but I would literally sit down with the person and listen to them. And I would listen. I wouldn't say a hell of a lot. I would try to understand where the person is coming from. And after that, I would again physically walk with the person to see Jennifer, if she wouldn't mind, and have Jennifer explain the policy of the library. And again, I think it's a great idea to put it in writing because, as you said so brilliantly, it is a litigious society. It's also a crazy society. I mean, somebody can kill you. I mean, so you have to be nice, you have to be understanding, you have to listen, but you have to also be safe and respect their thoughts. And I physically would walk the person to Jennifer because I wouldn't know what this person is going to do.
Okay, thank you. I had mentioned there are some times when operations and policy kind of get muddled together. You kind of dialed that up with this hypothetical. I think this is a good example of when it's not always clear cut. What is policy? What is operations? I am in the camp of engagement. I would definitely hear the person out and be empathetic. Not to say I would necessarily agree with his or her viewpoint on that, but I think as a public-facing individual elected person, I would definitely engage and listen to that person. Going to back to what Mr. Yee had said, I would turn to the policy, the written policy that I am assuming is in place for this type of thing, if not for artwork, at least for books. Because I know that in the past couple of years, the California legislature has passed the Freedom to Read Act. And part of that is not only viewpoint neutrality, but actually having a written process, or a formal process rather, on how to deal with books that are being challenged. So I would turn to that and sort of analogize that to the complainant's, charge against this one piece of artwork. Is what type of policy do we have with the same type of complaint as to books? That's all. Thank you.
When I mentioned this to Zoe at her coffee, when I ran for library trustee in 2024 for the elected position, I had a plethora of questions about not the artwork, but about books in the library, from, library patrons everywhere I went, the Trader Joe's, it didn't matter where I went, someone stopped me and asked me about. And so, for me, I would listen to the issue and the concern. And at the time, I wasn't a trustee, but I listened to their concerns. Don't make any promises or take action. I would immediately refer them to Jennifer Addington. And also, as a trustee, I would be sure to only discuss the matter as a full board and not as not individually, to not violate the Brown Act, or to be fair and transparent regarding any issues. And of course, we know that our library follows the ALA, and we want to ensure that materials are provided that that presents all points of views. But that is something that Jennifer would speak to. So for me, it would just be listen and probably just refer them to her. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so the last, the next question is me. And we are going to start with Lisa Blank. Oh, I did mean to ask, did Nadia Chowdhury ever come on?
No, she didn't.
Okay, all right, so I think we're done with that candidate. Okay, so it seems like all of the candidates are very busy people. And you can answer this question in more detail than yes or no. But do you have the time to fully commit to the role, including attending library and community events, participating in special meetings, and serving on subcommittees? And so I'll say a bit more about this. So, attending special meetings is very important. That is how we do Director Addington's evaluation. That is how we have workshops on budget. Fortunately for you, there's no need for strategic planning, but that takes place in special meetings. So we engage in a lot of special meetings. So we may say that we meet, once a month, but some months it can be more than that. So again, do you have the time to fully commit to the role, including attending library and community events, participating in special meetings, and serving on subcommittees?
So I'm going to say that nobody would have volunteered for this position if they didn't have time. I went and looked, and on average, you are meeting twice a month. Sometimes your special meetings are just tacked onto the regular meeting, but sometimes your special meetings are an actual physical separate meeting. About 4 out of the 6, I think, was the number that I came up with. One of the special meetings was 30 minutes long, which does make me question why there was a special meeting. You bring everybody in for something that you're going to spend 30 minutes on. That suggests that maybe didn't really need to happen at that time. I tend to be that kind of person where I look at it and I say, are you using my time well? Obviously, all of us are dedicated to the concept of being on the board, dedicated to the concept of participating with the board's activities. But then I would also say that the board needs to be dedicated to using their own time wisely.
Nancy.
Yes, I believe I will have time to commit to this very good cause. My husband and I are empty nesters, and after raising 3 kids and 1 set of twins, I was very busy and working full time. I may be ramping some of that down. I still, I am on the board of directors for the Pony Club where my kids were involved for many years. I just do it because I think it's a good cause. I want to give back. It's something they loved and we grew up doing it. So along the same lines as the library, it gave a lot to them. They enjoyed it and benefited from it. And I think it would be an excellent use of my time and I'd be honored if I was selected.
I've sat in enough board meetings that they go on forever. They go on ad nauseum. My answer is yes.
Yeah, similarly, what Lisa said, if I didn't have the time, I would not have applied.
I just want to say that I take my community commitment seriously, and my previous volunteer board and work experience has taught me the importance of reliability, collaboration, and follow through. My commitment to community service is demonstrated by my receipt of the California State PTA Honorary Service Award, which recognizes my consistent and meaningful volunteer contributions to the community. And as trustee, I would fully commit to attending meetings, serving on subcommittees, participating in community events to help the library's mission. And I think the fact that I ran for trustee position in 2024 is an indicator of my genuine long-term commitment to serving the library. So I remain eager to contribute my time and experience and ensure the library, guide the library in its continued success. Thank you.
I actually initially hesitated putting in my application because of this very point. So I'm being fully transparent. In fact, Rosa and I had a conversation about this when we were all at the Legislative Forum meeting together a few weeks ago. But after talking to Rosa and really realizing that this has been such a long-term desire of mine, I really took a hard look at my current commitments, which have been stated as part-time teaching at Cal State Dominguez Hills and a very time-consuming at the moment church-related job. And I realized that the bulk of my teaching grading commitment takes place in the beginning of the semester, and I am mostly through that. And the semester will end in early December. My church job will sunset in January before the next semester starts. And so I am confident that I will have the time. I do understand what it takes, and that was why I hesitated initially. But I am confident that I can find that time, and I will tell you I've spent a lot of hours preparing for tonight. So if I could carve the time out to do that, I feel confident that I can continue as a trustee if that's your desire.
So I just retired from a job that was 50+ hours a week with a 3-hour commute downtown. So I think I have the time because of that. And I'm rotating off a 4-year term on the vestry of the board of St. Francis Episcopal Church right here in PVE. So I'm rotating off a board which had sort of the same time commitment, and I'm no longer working. So yes, I should have plenty of time.
Thank you. All right. So the last question is there anything you would like to add? This is your opportunity to make a brief concluding statement. And this time we will go from Hal Yee to Lisa Blank.
You know, the only thing I guess I would add that wasn't in one of the comments or in the materials was that, you know, I realized that in many ways I was in the same position that Jennifer is in. And so to the extent as an interim trustee, I could provide empathy, coaching, advice, mentorship. From what I can gather from you, you guys are all much less tough than the Board of Supervisors.
It's been a long night, so I don't want to keep you here unnecessarily. I will say, in the spirit of levity, I am wearing what I think are library colors. My library card is green. And I just want you to know that really the library has always been in my heart. I've always wanted to serve in this capacity, and I really hope that I get to do so this time.
Thank you. I appreciate your consideration.
I'd like to thank everybody who showed up tonight to interview. Honestly, I think there is something that every person said tonight that I really thought was very worthwhile. And I think that there's no bad decision among us, honestly. For me, I couldn't be more invested in this community. I was raised here. I raised a family here myself. I'm 2/3 empty nest, and my wife is a teacher at Cornerstone Elementary. So I'm not quite sure how I could be possibly more involved and invested in the community, except by maybe being appointed to this board. I'm plug and play. I'm ready to go on day one. And so I think given that it's a very short term, maybe that's a measure of comfort. But again, I think anybody on sitting right here facing you would be an excellent choice. So thank you for tonight.
Yeah, I totally agree with Kenny. I think you could throw up a dime, and if you hit anyone at this table, it would work out quite well. I think the difference for me is that I've been here. I've done that. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's always a learning curve. I don't care what it is. I would not have a learning curve. And the rest I have said previously. I've always loved libraries. I grew up in the Bronx. I had no place to study. I went to the library. I went to college. I went to NYU. Lived in a fraternity. I had no place to study. Went to the library. Same thing in med school. I had no place to study because I had a roommate, so I went to the library. So I love the libraries, but I think the key issue for choosing me would be that I'm ready tonight. And I think I do a really good job, and I just want to have fun with everybody. I don't want to make everything miserable. I mean, there are so many miserable people here in this world. I think we should have fun and just enjoy what we're doing. Thank you.
The only thing I'd like to add is that I am on the board of directors for the U.S. Pony Club, and I see and I am very pleased with being able to see how it works and to give back to that community. And I feel the same with the library, and I think that I would enjoy and hopefully would be a valuable asset to the board if it's anything the same as what we have at the Pony Club. And I think maybe you should vote to have 7 more people on the board because it's going to be tough to decide.
So I have to echo that pretty much anybody that you choose tonight is going to be a good choice. You don't have bad choices here. I did find it interesting that almost every single person, both on the board and who submitted their applications, it was there's 6 degrees of separation. There was some degree of not separation to every person. I could think of a link, either someplace that I lived or something that we did, another foreign service officer, which was very interesting. So I found that quite interesting. You've got a very good selection of people. I would say that this is the opportunity for you to ask a question that is not a canned question. These were all questions that were given to you by Jennifer, and I understand from what was going on that those were questions that had been given and asked many generations before. And so really, what do you want to know of this group? Because these were not your questions. These were questions that were given to you.
Thank you. All right. So the next step is for us to look for motions for candidates that we would like to invite to continue. And I guess I will start first. So I will make a motion to invite Hal Lee to join the board. Or I'm sorry, Hal Yee. Okay, so Jennifer, this is where I'm not sure what we do. So do we now take a?
So I can explain as far as I am aware. First of all, I also want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I've had an opportunity to meet and talk to a lot of you individually, and I completely agree that anyone could probably step in and be a phenomenal trustee. We have the very difficult decision of picking only one. There is only one vacant seat. In an effort to, not to put too blunt of a point on it, narrow the field, what we are asking the trustees to do is to put forward a nomination, to actually make a motion to nominate somebody for the empty seat. The discussion will be held after the nominations, and the discussion will only be about those nominations. It allows the board an opportunity to focus their discussion on only the candidates who have been nominated. And I know that that can be a little difficult, but the fact is there can be only one. So in order to make it a little easier, we are asking the board at this time to put forward a nomination for whatever candidate they would like to see on the board. And once all the motions are put forward, there will be a discussion amongst the board about those candidates only. Eventually, the discussion will end and we will go motion by motion and the board will vote. The first candidate to get 3 votes is the new trustee, and by default negates all additional votes. The trustees cannot vote for 2 candidates. Vote for 1. If there is a tie, the motion fails. If there's not enough votes, the motion fails. So it could be that the first motion for a candidate fails and we move on to the second motion. If the second motion passes with 3 votes, that is the selected candidate. If there are no passing motions, we will ask for a second round of motions, and we will again discuss those candidates. So it's a bit strange, but it's a way of trying to get down to discussing only those trustees that are actually put forward. Any questions on that? You are more than welcome to sit here and listen to all of this. You are also welcome to take a stroll if you'd like. It's completely up to you. But you can absolutely go and wander around and, come back in about 5 or 10 minutes. Or you're welcome to stay and listen to the deliberations. We are not asking the candidates to leave, but you certainly can if this feels a little uncomfortable for you. Of course, I think all of our trustees understand that we are all here in the spirit of respect and appreciation. We are incredibly honored that each one of you has stepped up and forward to be this, to take this role on. So in all transparency, you're welcome to stay. But if you'd like to step out, you can also do that. That's your choice. But at this point in time, what we are asking is for any nominations from the board for a candidate to take this seat.
Okay,
it
so
stands.
I've given my motion for Hal Yee. Are there additional motions?
I motion to move forward Holly Vander. Yes.
Yes, I have sort of a point of information or question. I mean, so there would be no use in the 4 of us making our own motions.
You can make your own motion.
But
If
then
you
we
want
wouldn't be able
somebody
to vote
considered.
for,
I think that what we're really doing at this point is willowing it down
right?
from 7 to a fewer number of candidates, and then we could go ahead and have an in-depth discussion and then take another round of voting.
Okay.
But what are you really asking? So are you
No, I think-
asking, can you, because yes. you
Because in
can-
my mind, if we each, say 4 of us make our own motion nominating 4 candidates, then we wouldn't, then we need to vote for our own motion. We wouldn't be able to vote for
Right.
the other trustees' motions. So then we would be stuck with 4, but I guess now I understand. I think, sorry, this
Yeah,
is,
it's not we're casting 4 votes. for
Right.
A single
I
person.
guess this is
We're
just,
willowing it down.
this is helpful thinking aloud, so
Yeah.
thank you. Okay.
Yeah, and I just want to say I appreciate all of you being here and that this is really in full transparency. I want to say I was an appointed trustee in 2018. So I was sitting where you are right now, and there weren't as many candidates, but I can certainly see how it was hard for you to prepare and get ready, but it's really hard sitting on this side. So I really appreciate everyone being here today. And I need some clarification too, because we didn't have the nomination process the last time I went through this. If there's a motion on the table already for a candidate, are we all making motions in support of any of the above trustees already?
If there's a motion on the floor for a candidate that would be your choice, you need not make another motion. If there's a candidate that is not up for consideration at this moment, then make a motion to add them.
I see.
But otherwise, we have 2 candidates up for consideration at the moment. After hearing everything and listening and reading all of their information, we have 2 motions, one for Mr. Hal Yee and one for Holly Vanderdonk. Any other motions? If not, then I would start the discussion period.
I think Jonathan is thinking.
I'd like to move that we move to nominate Miss Wittenberry to the library board vacancy.
Okay. All right.
Start discussion.
Okay.
You're looking at me?
Oh, I'm just.
Well, first of all, I think that we've got an embarrassment of riches here in terms of candidates. What I would go ahead and say is that in terms of, and I'll refer to everybody by the first names, lest I mangle your last names. I mean, we have, Holly, who has a great resume, and she has really put herself out there in terms of, putting herself up for election in the last cycle. We have Beth, who this is the second time she's appeared to volunteer her services. And then, of course, we have, Hal, who also, has a great resume, and he has what I think is a lot of pertinent experience. As I say these things, you'll notice I'm not really delving towards any one particular candidate because one isn't better than the other. They're just different. And so I think that, as we discuss this, we're going to have to go ahead and find out which version which piece of glass will fit better into the jigsaw puzzle, shall we say. Or that's really mangled. But anyways, I think you understand what I mean. But yeah, it's just different. And also, I also believe that Hal is a good candidate. My nomination of Holly is as much to go ahead and broaden the conversation as opposed to because I understood that this was a willowing down process, not a first vote process, which I think that, it wasn't understood by everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so impressed with Holly and Beth and Hal. You all bring different skills to the table, but as Kingston said, finding the right fit with the 4 existing trustees is something to consider. Uh, I think that Beth made an effort a decade ago to be an appointed trustee, and I commend you for that. And she's back, so I know that she's serious and it's going to happen at some point. And Hal, I don't know you. I'm delighted to meet you, and your experience with the Board of County Supervisors sounds like it was pretty intense. And I think you would bring a lot to the table too. I think Holly has a lot of experience in the business world, as well as all of the visits that she makes to the library on a daily or weekly basis. I think she fully utilizes the library and has already demonstrated her passion by running a competitive election last year, and has already fielded questions, perhaps from the public, about what the library would do if there was um, uh, a request to review a potentially offensive library exhibit or material. I also think that she brings her experience in human resources, which I'm not sure the other candidates have, and I think is an important skill, as one of our primary roles is to evaluate the library director. So those are some of my thoughts.
Did you want to go?
Yeah, echoing Kingston's comment, this is an embarrassment of riches, and it's sort of flattering on behalf of the library district that so many people, are fans enough to be willing to dedicate time and energy to this sort of thing. And this has really been a difficult and interesting challenge to review all the documents, and I think all of us have taken it very seriously. And I just again want to express gratitude to everyone here who's participated and sought this role. Of the 3 candidates in discussion, I think I understand Ms. Wittenbury is very passionate about library service and about the district, but I wondered, until I read her full statement, I was wondering why she hadn't actually sought the role in an election year. And so that gave me a little pause, but, reviewing her statement, I understand her reasons for standing down on a couple of occasions. And then, of course, Ms. Vanderdonk demonstrated a real passion and commitment for the district by pulling papers at the county and her willingness to run last year. But still, this is a very difficult, it's a challenging decision to have to make. And, Dr. Yi brings a lot of really interesting experience. So I'm not sure what I'm exactly contributing with these sentences. I don't know if this
Well,
helps.
well, one of the things that's very, very difficult is that uh, this is a public meeting. We are
Yeah.
public officials. So the mere fact that you're vocalizing, thinking aloud, it really is the public's window into what it is that we're thinking and how we're going about this process. And, also to comment back to the Q&A session, yes, we had access to the candidates' written response, but of course the general public did not. And so that's a low part of the reason why we do this whole vocalization thing as well. I'm not going to be of any help to you folks because again, I have my feelings as to at least which way I would go ahead and make my first casting of a vote. And so what I would go ahead and say is that, what I said was actually the truth. When I first tossed my hat in the ring to be a trustee, I was about 50% right as to what the job entailed. And, the other 50% didn't rock my world, but I just rolled with it. I mean, I could handle it. You guys know what the job entails. And I guess what you really need to do is just take a look at the resumes, listen to the statements that people have made, and you know what we've been through in the past, say, 4 years, and what we're looking forward to in the next 2 years. What says skill sets do you think we need for the next year or two before the next election cycles?
So I haven't had a chance to put my statements out there. But when I look at Hal Yee's statement, what resonated with me was his listening to residents. He talked about data-informed decision-making, which is something, that really resonates with me, that we make our decisions based on data. Fostering transparency and promoting innovation that honors local identity. I think all of those are very important. I also can appreciate that Holly has run before and that Beth has thrown her name in before. But I don't think that our position is to award people, this position on the basis of they've thrown their names in before, as opposed to what they will bring to the board. And so I think that Hal will bring the most to the board. His experience will be beneficial to the board. And that's who I'm going to support. And so at this point, are we ready to take a vote?
And just to clarify, in my case, I've made a nomination of someone. I won't now be able to vote yes on.
You can
vote for
Jonathan,
anyone
you can
want.
vote however you want.
The first one was just to go ahead and
But the
narrow
motions need
pool.
to be voted on, right?
The first
So-
one was just to narrow the pool. Now you can vote for whoever you
Can the
want.
motion maker abandon his motion?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. So now are we going in the order of motions?
I would.
Okay. All right. So I have a motion from me for Hal Yee. All in favor?
Point of order, in this particular case, I think we should do roll call votes.
Okay. So
Executive Assistant Bender, are you prepared? Thank you.
okay. So I have a motion from Zoe Uno for Hal Yee. And so now we'll do the roll call vote.
Trustee Butler,
No.
trustee Easton,
Nay.
trustee Wong,
No.
and trustee Easton, I'm sorry, trustee Uno.
Yes.
We have a vote of 3 nay and 1 yay. The motion is defeated.
I'm sorry.
The motion is defeated.
Okay, so now we have a vote for, I think Holly Vanderdonk was next.
Mhm.
We have a motion for Holly Vanderdonk. Can I have a vote, please?
Trustee Butler,
No.
trustee Easton,
Aye.
trustee Uno,
No.
trustee Wong.
Aye.
We have a tie vote 2-2.
Okay, and now we have a vote for Beth Wittenberry.
Trustee Butler,
Yay.
trustee Easton,
Nay.
trustee Uno,
Yay.
is that a yay?
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Wong,
Yay.
we have a 3-1 vote. The motion has passed.
Congratulations.
Wait,
Okay. So it was,
Yeah, we have a successful motion, 3-1, Beth Wittenberry. Beth will be the new trustee.
okay. All right, so
Can I make a quick comment unrelated to any of the candidates?
I believe so.
So first of all, I just wanted to say that as related to the candidates, I lied. First of all, I thank everybody for coming out. But keep your eyes on us because quite frankly, I am serving my 4th term and I have made it no secret that I like this notion of 4x4. I mean, this is my last one. I'm done. So we do have another election cycle in about a year. And then when this term is up for me, there's going to be another opportunity. We like you guys and we want you to like us back. Thank you.
Sure.
Mhm.
I think if any of the trustees know anyone who's sitting here, they should recuse themselves. Period. It is unethical to be voting here if you know that individual. That's it.
Thank you.
In the future, people just come up and say, hey, how you doing? No, I know you, I'm doing. It's just, it's unethical. And that, doesn't look good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to take a break. Is that correct?
Well, we were going to do the 11 and 12 and then break.
Okay, all right. So now we're going to, and I'm just going to bring us all back to the meeting.
Never broke from them. Well, might as well break now then.
Well, that's what I'm thinking
change.
because yeah.
All right.
So we are going to take a break now. So thank you all for coming out tonight. And yes, come back.
Come back. Reconvene.
Okay, so we have re-adjourned the,
Reconvened.
reconvened the meeting. And so we are on item number 11, selection of new board member and approval of resolution number 25-8, appointing a new member to the Board of Library Trustees to fill an unexpired term that will expire in November 2026. And Tammy, I guess you gave me this motion to read?
I did, but we kind of already passed it when you all voted 3-1.
Okay, but I
So
guess I
just
should
for-
read it again.
Yeah.
All
Just
right.
for full transparency, what we're voting on now, and unfortunately, trustee Wittenberry, you're not going to be able to vote on this one. It is a resolution to appoint Beth Wittenberry as the new trustee.
You don't object, do you?
I do not object.
Okay.
Okay, and so I'm just going to go ahead and read this.
Yeah.
So a motion by trustee Uno that pursuant to Government Code 1788 and C, that the Board of Library Trustees of the Palos Verdes Library District hereby appoints Beth Wittenberry to fill an unexpired position on the Board of Library Trustees that will expire on November 27th, 2026. Okay. So can I have a vote of the 4 trustees? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? The motion passes. Okay. So next, item 12, administer the oath of office to appointed trustee. And that will be done by me. And so I will have you stand.
Do I come around there?
I guess here's fine.
You may need to use your microphone.
Yes. Okay. So I state your name.
I, Beth Wittenberry,
During such times as I hold the office
during such times as I hold the office
of trustee at the Palos Verdes Library District,
of trustee at the Palos Verdes Library District,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without, can you say that again?
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Thank you. Sure.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Should we do a group photo or is that not?
We'll do it afterwards.
Beth, before you leave, make sure you sign that oath, that I have to send it in to the
Oh.
county.
Let me do that right now.
And then give it back because I need it. Okay, so now we are on to the presentation of the 2024-2025 audit report. by Finance Manager Lou.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome Trustee Winberry to the Board of Trustees. I'm Will Liu, I'm the Finance Manager. And now I'd like to welcome Jonathan Abadesco, Audit Partner with CJ Brown and Company CPAs. His team worked on interim testing in May and final field work in August. The
Will,
audit-
can I stop you
Yeah.
for a second? Can you do something about your volume?
Can you turn yourself up a little bit, Will?
yes, let me.
No, tell Tammy because.
Is it the volume or just he sounds canned?
There we go. Is this better?
Yeah, that's better.
It's better, but can you make it louder?
Maybe I'll come closer to the computer, but
That's better if you scoot a little closer and speak louder. Yeah.
okay. So I'd like to welcome Jonathan Abadesco, audit partner with CJ Brown and Company CPAs. His team worked on interim testing in May and final field work in August. The audit report has been included in the packet, and now I'll turn it over to Jonathan, who will provide a summary of the audit report. Hi, Jonathan, you're on.
Yeah, Will. So, will I be able to share my slides?
Yes, I
Or
believe.
you want to share it? So,
Yes, you should be able to share it now. Try again, Mr. Abadisco.
thank you. Hold on. Yeah, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, is it bigger or smaller?
That's good right there.
Perfect. So, good evening to the board members, members of the public, and district management and staff. So I'm here to present your financial statements for fiscal year 25. So every year, we are required, or the district is required by state law to have an audit performed by a qualified CPA. And by January 31st or 7 months after year end, the district is required to submit the financial transactions report to the state controller's office, which we will assist the district in submitting those. So, on page or item number 13-7 of your board packet, on the second paragraph, you could see that our firm issued an unmodified or clean opinion where your financial statements is in accordance with US GAAP or accepted accounting principles in the US. So the word unmodified just means that there's no issues whatsoever in your report. There's proper checks and balances when we have audited your controls, which resulted in a clean opinion when we have audited your statements. Okay, so moving on item number 13-11. So this is your balance sheet or income statement. And if you could see your current assets, it went up by $954,000 or close to $1 million. If you recall, last year, I believe towards July of 2024, your Section 115 trust was terminated, and the funds remaining was moved over to your California class. So that contributed largely to the increase in your cash, which was under current assets. Okay. And the last number on the right-hand side under the change column, there's a 200,000 increase in your net position, which I will explain in the next slide. By the way, so this statement, the 13-11 and the next slide, is presented under the accrual basis of accounting. So, which means that expenses and revenue are recognized when incurred and earned, regardless as to when it was received by the district and paid. So, but however, on my last slide, I will explain how the district met your budget using the cash basis of accounting. Okay, so 13-12, this is your income statement under the accrual base of accounting. So you could see here, sorry. So your overall revenues, it increased by $390,000 from 12 million to $12.4 million, which can be attributed to an increase in your property tax revenues and your expense. The district spent $12.2 million, which includes non-cash items, which was brought about by the non-cash pension accrual or expense adjustment from CalPERS, which was $1 million compared to $1.6 million last year. And so overall, there's a decrease in your expenses for about $170,000 overall. So this is like a summary of your financial highlights under the accrual base of accounting. So what was earned? The district earned 12.4 in total revenues, which was a $390,000 increase from last year, brought about by property tax revenues. Your expense, it's about $12.2 million in overall expense, which was a decrease in $170,000. So the reason behind the expenses going down under accrual basis is last year you have so CalPERS, there was a $1.6 million in expense, and this year is about roughly $1 million. So that's why there's a decrease in your expense. Okay, so here's the budget to actual figures, which is found on item number 13-42 of your board packet. So this report on the fourth column, this is based on the cash basis of accounting, meaning what was, so it only recognized what was paid by the district and what was earned. So if you could see here, your overall expense is roughly 11.3 million, where the district really met their targets or budget. So you spent less than what was budgeted. And your overall revenues, you have budgeted $12.3 million or $39 million, and you have earned more than what was expected. So overall, you have a $1 million surplus compared to what was budgeted because of the savings in expenditures and revenue, earning more revenues than what was budgeted. So this is summary. So the district really met their targets, which is because of great custody and fiscal management by the district. Any questions by the board or public members?
Just I guess a question and a comment, Jonathan.
Yeah.
For those of us who may not be quite as numerically inclined as both our finance manager, Will Liu, or yourself, when you look, I know you just told us that we kind of met our benchmarks, that the library spent less than it said it was going to spend and earned more than we thought we were going to earn.
Yes.
So when you look at our budget as a whole, when you look at our accounting practices, how we run our accounting here at the library, do you see or have you seen any issues that would cause you any concern? Or are we doing a pretty good job, all things considered?
Okay, I'm happy that you asked that. So normally what we just want to tell you how we our audit process. So at first, we try to understand your controls, which is part of our risk assessment, and we test those controls. So, so we tested your disbursements from the time that you receive your invoices up to the time that you pay your invoices with vendors. Same thing with payroll, from the time that timesheets were filled out up to the time that employees' paychecks were calculated. No issues found. Same thing with your bank statements, which is reconciled to your GL or general ledger. So without further ado, I would like to commend the district by having proper checks and balances. And you went and director, when you mentioned about issues that had come across, we did not find any issues. Kudos to management and staff for making sure that everything's in order. There's no fraud involved, which is a good sign for a very healthy district. And I think you did great.
That's what we like to hear. Thank you, Jonathan.
Oh, thank you.
Can I ask one question?
Please, yes.
And this, you may not be the appropriate person to ask, forgive me, because I'm new. You mentioned that the reason the expenses went down were because the pension liability somehow went down. Do you know if that's something we can expect to continue, or was this a one-time anomaly, or can you speak to that?
So are you talking about the pension expense or the
Yes.
pension liability?
Well, okay, the pension expense went down, is that correct?
Yeah. So the pension expense actually, it's a product of calculation from CalPERS. And the reason why it went down, because uh, last year, CalPERS, as of the 2024 measurement date, they have earned $1.6 billion in net investments income. So that's why it's like the share in the pie
Okay.
of the district from the overall pool. So I should say because they have a good year, so that's why expenses went down.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question.
It's good to know that as an organization in general, our checks and balances are doing well. Were there any significant suggestions that you made to our staff as to things that they could do? Or is it just there wasn't really much that could be changed?
That's a great question. So I should say that overall, when we looked at your procedure, I would like to commend Will. Will is such a very detailed finance manager, and the district is very blessed to have this guy like you.
Thank you,
That's all I
Jonathan.
can say. Very knowledgeable. It's so hard to find mistakes in his work. So, so that's all I can
Okay.
say. Yeah.
Also, and this is probably more a question for Will, uh, And I think that I already know the answer. But you know, when we had the Peachtree incident in which some of the houses basically collapsed, that really did not result in a lot of change in revenue. Then of course, we've had a bigger incident around Portuguese Bend. I'm going to make the assumption that while tragic, it doesn't really result in much change in our revenue from the tax base.
That's correct. It had a very little impact. That would show up in this year, so it would be very small impact.
Okay, and
Nothing to be worried about from my perspective.
And the county hasn't basically flagged anything. Okay.
Nope.
I have a question maybe for both. Another question about external pressure factors. Like looking at future investment performance, how is that being monitored in terms of, you know, with regards to revenue trending in the future, next year and beyond?
Investment performance? Are you referring to CalPERS or are investments with the funds held at California Class?
I'm thinking both. Just in terms of like market conditions, I assume that's being monitored. I'm just curious, you know, how that
Yes.
plays into the thought process.
Yes, so we continue to have a good reserve. We have a pension fund where we have 3.7 million. That's also invested in Class. Interest rates are slowly coming down a bit, but I think it's still our budget is still pretty good in terms of interest income. CalPERS continues to do well. It earned 11.6% for the fiscal year that ended June 30th, 2025. So that outperformance compared to its 6.8% investment target will lead to a smaller unfunded liability as well as smaller pension expense going forward. So they've had 2 straight years of meaningful outperformance. And as a result, you know, we haven't had the need to contribute any additional discretionary payments to CalPERS. So that's helping our budget show surpluses. And both last year and it'll do so this year once we look at the mid-year budget. So we're doing good. And our investments are in safe, liquid investments where we're not in any we closed out our Section 115 trust where we're not in any sort of stock or bond, you know, portfolio anymore. And I think we're in pretty good shape.
I think as the trustees know, the one thing that we can't know is CalPERS investment. They've had 2 very good years. We hope for future good years. If we could know what the market is doing, we would all be millionaires. But I think I would echo what Jonathan said. I've been incredibly impressed by the level of awareness and tracking that Finance Manager Lou has done over the years and continues to do to just keep us as abreast of those things as we possibly can be. And I think one of the things that we agree on together is the best way to handle challenges is to just constantly be prepared and to be as mindful with our money as we possibly can, to build up those reserves, to address our First Foundation loan as quickly as we can, and just be as robust as we possibly can, which we're endeavoring to do. Who knows in some ways,
I-
but
I think
just
that-
being prepared.
Yeah, I think the thing about it is that as was mentioned, we can't control what CalPERS does in terms of its investment, can't control the market. But I think that the thing that's really, really good to know is that when you compare us to a lot of organizations our size or just other organizations in the public realm, our ratio of funded for the pension is very, very good. I mean, you've heard about some places that are underfunded by about like 50% of target. I mean, there was a time I think that we were trying to maintain like 75%, and I think with the market doing as well as it has, we're better than that, knock on wood. So hopefully the wire don't rise on us.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? All right, so let's see. It looks like I need a motion that the Board of Library Trustees hereby accepts, receives, and files the audit for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2025 as presented. So can I have a motion?
I move that we accept the audit.
Okay, so I have a motion from trustee Wong that we accept the audit as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so the motion passes.
Point of order, Madam President. Do we not have seconds to motions because we're so small? So it's going.
We don't have.
Yeah, we don't do seconds. We kind of do more of a parliamentary procedure.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
All right, so on to item 14, update on Palos Verdes Library District and Peninsula Library Friends Foundation Joint Agreement, Director Addington.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Very quick update, everybody. I do continue to work with the foundation president, Susan Paul. I believe today we finally got agreement on one final sentence. I did reach out to SDRMA about an insurance question that we both had. And so I will be bringing a finalized draft to the board at the November meeting. And it has been reviewed by our council. It's been reviewed by their council. I'm sure that at some point in the future, there will be changes to it, but for a first document as a joint operational agreement between ourselves and the foundation, I think it's a really good starting point, and we'll be reviewing it in November.
Okay. All right, any questions or comments?
When do you think it will be finished?
November,
For sure.
yes,
Okay.
we're done.
I can always
You
question.
doubtful?
Don't be doubtful. Don't tell me, Kings.
Okay. All right, item 15. District Director's Monthly Report.
Thank you again, Madam President. In the interest of time this evening, I won't go too deeply into my report. Everybody has the written report as part of your packet. I'd welcome any questions now or even at a later date. Just to acknowledge, I do like to always every month acknowledge the staff members who receive our Pay It Forward Award. For our new trustee, Trustee Wittenberry. This is an award that's passed from staff member to staff member. And it just acknowledges something that staff member has done or in some way that they're being recognized by another staff member. This month's award recipient is our assistant branch manager and former young adult librarian, Katrina Woodson. So I'd like to call her out. And I also wanted to call out that our very own technical services manager, Mary Kochman, is receiving at next week's California Library Association's annual conference, the Technical Services Award of Merit. Mary has been an employee here at the Palos Verdes Library District for, gosh,
20 years at least.
23 years, maybe. I've been 26 and no, but it's probably 26 because she actually started just a few months before me. So a long-serving member of our team. She's been the technical services manager for, over 20 years, a member of the California Library Associations and SCLC's technical service interest groups, and a very, very worthwhile and deserving winner of the Technical Services Award of Merit. I will be attending the awards ceremony at the California Library Association to make sure to take some photos. So hopefully we'll have those at our next meeting. But again, in the interest of time, I'll that will be my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 16, ad hoc committee report regarding alternate director compensation, Vice President Butler and/or Secretary Wong.
Well, since we finished the selection of a interim trustee, do you want to discuss it tonight or you want to put it off until next month like we originally planned?
Well, I think we,
I think we can push it to November.
It was a joke.
Oh, okay.
all right, so
Good one.
you're intending to discuss it next month
As
and finalize it.
yes, as originally planned.
Okay, perfect. All right, item 17, Community Relations Committee report, Vice President Butler.
Oh, I would just make mention of the legislative luncheon. I think almost all of us attended and
I was there too.
you were there in a separate capacity.
Yes, I was.
But at the time, the full 4-person board with President and Director Addington. So another great chamber-led community event. And I think it's worthwhile for us to participate in things like that. I think it was very nice.
And I also want to compliment my fellow trustees. Have you noticed that when we have events like this, we have a pretty good full attendance?
We have a high ratio.
We've
Yeah.
been noted as being one of the few organizations that has their entire board attend. So we've gotten gold stars for that in the past.
Is there a calendar of upcoming events that you expect us to attend that I could see?
Yeah, I'll share that on Monday. All right, thank you.
Did you, on the agenda, there were a few.
I
On the agenda, there were a few.
I did
You
see
did
the
see
ones on the
those, yeah.
agenda. I just wanted to know if there were others.
All right. So item 18, Peninsula Library Friends Foundation report. That would be me. I did not attend, so.
Both Deputy Director Roy and I were in attendance at their meeting. I gave a short report on a variety of different things that were coming up. They shared a little bit with us. Nothing of great note. I again continue to work with President Paul on the joint agreement, and we're working on one of their membership levels, which is a youth membership level, just to ensure that we have the volunteer support that can do that, and looking at some other potential sort of programming partnerships down the road. But right now, nothing more to note than that.
Okay. Item 19, Government Relations Liaison Report, Trustee Easton.
I have nothing to report.
Okay. All right. Item 20, items for future agendas.
Thank you very much, Madam President. So on our agendas, the draft agenda for November, we will be announcing our holiday closures. This always happens as a consent item in November. We do not have an election this year. We will be inviting the Peninsula Teen Advisory Council to come and give us their quarterly report. We'll have an update from the ad hoc on the director compensation. We will have the joint Peninsula Library Foundation and PVLD joint agreement document. We're also working on some additional, or I should say some updates to the policy regarding the Peninsula Library Friends Foundation liaison role. I think we've all seen that over the past year, there have been some changes in how the Friends Foundation is engaging with the library and how we are engaging with them. I've been in conversation with their president and will be bringing some policy changes to the board. One of the things we also was brought to my attention by President Uno is that in our own policies, there are 2 different sections for how to do vacancies on the board. So staff will be looking at those policies and bringing some suggested updates just to kind of coordinate those and make it a little clearer. So policy updates, ad hoc updates, an action item probably on the joint agreement, and then a PTAC report, at least for now.
Okay, and then related to policies, I was reading our policy, in preparation for tonight. And another, policy that I noted was that when we have a new trustee, that new trustee will meet with the president and the director. So,
Okay.
because
Do you not want that?
No, I
Oh.
do want it, because I think I heard maybe you two are meeting. And so, I should be included in that meeting.
I will counter that and say I'd rather you not. I think there is absolutely an opportunity for you to meet with the new trustee, but I also think that there's a lot for myself and the trustee to simply talk about operations, emails, get a little tour and things like that.
Well,
So
I am going to counter that
Mhm.
the policy does state,
that it must be a joint meeting.
well, it says either or. And so, we have to
Again-
make a decision.
Well, and I would say I welcome you to meet with the new trustee. I think that's fantastic. But I think I have enough to say to a new trustee that I would like my own meeting as.
I'm just stating that
Right.
that is what the policy is. The policy is, it says and or. So you're making the case that you would like to meet separately.
Right.
But I'm making the case that it does have that in there. So we need to be consistent about the policies that we have. And,
Okay.
and so,
But what are you suggesting then?
well, I was suggesting that we meet together, but you're suggesting that you don't want that to happen.
I mean, we can have another meeting together. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay.
I don't mind having any meeting. I'm just,
I'm just
there is
stating
an
that,
opportunity on Monday for trustee Wittenberry and I to get together. And you could certainly come to that one, but I do think that there's an opportunity for me to have a one-on-one with a new trustee.
okay, and I'm just stating that we need to be consistent about our policies.
So are you saying that the policy should be amended to say and take out the slash? Sorry.
I'm just stating what the policy is. And so,
But what would you like?
well, I said what I would like, but
So you want to join the meeting on Monday?
yes.
Okay,
Happy to have you, Zoe.
yeah.
All right. So are there any other agenda items for the next meeting? Okay.
I just have a question because I see that next is adjournment. So, I did read that you're all having board training on November 12th,
Mhm.
which is one of my teaching days. So I just wanted to see if we can deconflict it all. Like I can be there by 11:30
Mhm.
in the morning, but I can't be there before that because I'm teaching. Is that going to be an issue?
I mean, I can reach out to Deborah. It was very, very difficult to schedule this meeting and to find a time when all the trustees were available. We do have, our expectation for that day was to go from about 10 to 3. So it could be that we start off with something that's just the 4 trustees. The only staff members that will be in attendance is myself and Deputy Director Roy. We did not, we're not inviting anybody else. It's kind of just a board training. So it kind of is up to the board. If you'd like me to explore another day, I have a feeling, given her schedule, it probably wouldn't be until at least the first of the year because she has a weekend commitment like throughout the entire holiday season. So I'm kind of sneaking in, a Wednesday here. But I could certainly do that, or we could plan to do something different for the first hour and a half. And then when trustee Wittenberry joins us, we can do a full board training.
All I,
to the-
all I was suggesting is I saw that you had the room reserved till 5. So, you know, if we could
And
shift it back, maybe that would
Could
be.
certainly, I could certainly explore that too and start maybe at 11. I mean, yeah, that's certainly an option. Whatever.
I just thought I would put it out there now because we won't have
Absolutely,
another
yeah.
board meeting.
Oh, good.
Before then.
So I recommend that we keep the date and see what we can do.
Okay. Thank you.
Would you like me to explore pushing it for an 11 o'clock start time? Okay. Self a note.
All right. So, I have a motion, or I would like a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.